First up, we went through Big Ten schedules last week. Now we get a pivot to the second biggest conference. No offense to anyone involved. The SEC. So I have a couple of my winners and losers, and we take a look at the SEC, and the scheduling isn't quite as egregious as the Big Ten. So this is more a matter of opinion, but my opinion is totally better than Josh's. So I think I'm much more correct.
Yeah. Well, let's go with that. Let's just go with that.
Okay. Well, I'll start.
Go ahead.
My third easiest that I have is Vanderbilt. By the way, quick clarification before this. I'll talk about teams that are ranked wherever in the SEC. I just took their national championship odds and then ranked them in the conference. It's pretty close to what you would expect, like Texas first, Arkansas last. So if I say a team's 10th best in the SEC, that's just based off that. I know it's a rough metric, but this is February, so.
It is February.
And I trust Vegas.
That's a lot more research.
Yeah.
Well done.
Wow. Thank you. Anyways, number 3, easiest schedule winner in the SEC is the Vanderbilt Commodores. What's helping their schedule here is that they don't play Texas, the alleged number 1 team, or the number 3 or 4 team. They do play one game that is very difficult. That is at Georgia. So they start their season against Austin Peay. I don't even know what that is. They get home versus Delaware. Home against NC State is their out of conference. Mm-hmm. And then they go to Auburn and then to Georgia. Those 2 games back-to-back are easily going to be their hardest challenge, especially at Georgia. Easily going to come out of there with at least 1 loss.
Okay.
Maybe 2. This is Vanderbilt. But then there's some of their games like Ole Miss is at home. If that team's not so good, that's could be a pretty easy win.
Sure.
You get Arkansas at home, which is supposed to be, like the worst SEC team. You play at Kentucky, and then you get a bye week. And then you're right back with at Mississippi State. So, I mean, all that part is looking pretty manageable. You do get a game against Alabama at home for your third last game of the season. So, I mean, no one's really walking out of here with a cakewalk like Penn State did, but you get Alabama at home, you go to Florida, and then you end your season with Tennessee at home.
Sure.
So you have a tough game at Georgia, and then you have a tough game home against Alabama. But for the most part, I said that's pretty workable. Their bye is late in October, a little later than maybe you would like, but not that bad, especially as they hit the harder part of their schedule in the second part there. So,
What do you think of those last 3 games? I feel like that's a little bit more of a last 3 games, November. People can be tired, I feel like they could drop a couple there.
Yeah, that's true, but you got to remember the 4 weeks leading up to that is Arkansas, Kentucky, bye, Mississippi State.
Now that helps.
So I'd say that's pretty helpful.
That's good.
And you know what? If Vanderbilt's getting to the end of the season with serious playoff hopes and a lot of glimmer in their eye, I'd say that's a pretty big win, and I'd say that gives them an easier schedule. It's better than getting beaten down early and trying to come back, in my opinion. But that's just a matter of opinion.
No, that's fair. So
that was my number 3. I don't know if you ranked yours or not, but
I didn't really rank them, but I do have 3 winners and 3 losers. Okay. So I'll go with my first winner. I actually have Texas.
Really?
I do.
I disagree.
I think that's a hot take. And I'm saying that mainly because of the way their schedule lines up, not by necessarily the strength of their opponents.
Really?
Because I do think Texas is a very manageable, very good team, and I think they're going to be able to manage the schedule to a very good degree.
That's certainly an opinion.
So, first off, they start off with the Texas State Bobcats.
Okay.
Yeah.
No complaints there.
Nice little tune-up. They do go play Ohio State Buckeyes, but they do get them at home. That's very helpful.
It's true. I agree.
I think that's going to be huge. They get a nice little 3-game home streak here. We get UTSA right afterwards, so that's a nice little breather right after the Buckeyes. Then they go play Tennessee. Tennessee is not going to be as good as they were last year. I think that's going to be proven. I don't think that's going to be a difficult game. October 3rd, they have their bye. I think that's awesome. I think that bye lines up perfectly right in the middle of the season. Good reset. Let's get ready to go right before Oklahoma. I think that's awesome. Again, that's a neutral field site. They've been doing all right in that game. They always play Oklahoma, just like how we'll say we'll always play Michigan. That's just how it goes. Then they get a nice little Florida Gator action. Again, a nice little buffer between hard games.
Yeah.
Ole Miss at home.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's pretty good. Then you go play Mississippi State, another buffer, right before you go play Missouri, who is arguably would be meh. So I'm not too terribly made up for it. And then you go to the other side, and the last half of the schedule, you play LSU, which that could be a straight toss-up
It's true.
as it is. Arkansas, the worst team ever. Again, another buffer for Texas A&M. So I think
that's
you get
real
buffers
interesting.
between every single game that you have. That's pretty hard.
But the
And
games are hard. It doesn't,
I
buffers
understand.
help, but
I'm
the games are
saying
still hard.
We are judging based off of the schedule. I am saying they're going to manage the schedule very well. That schedule lines up perfectly for them
Right.
if they can ask for anything. So I do think they're a winner.
Well, later I'll explain why I think is one of the harder schedules, and I think Josh is pretty silly for saying that.
I also believe in Texas. So what does that say?
And I don't.
I know.
Okay. We'll continue. My second easiest schedule I had was the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I'll tell you why. Their schedule,
As did I.
it's actually kind of the same reasons you brought up for Texas, except they play way worse opponents than Texas. But I would say that the way their schedule lines up is really nice. You start with East Carolina at home, then you play at Kentucky, and then you play Florida State at home. I don't think they're going to lose this time.
Okay.
And then you play at Mississippi State. All flip,
Sure.
you're already 5 games into your season, and I think any Alabama fan would be extremely upset to have lost a game by now. I mean, East Carolina, Texas, or East Carolina at Kentucky, Florida State, South Carolina at Mississippi State. You should be looking really good, and you should have had plenty of prep for your game against Georgia. Obviously, Georgia's the best team on their schedule, in my opinion, but
Sure.
you get them at home. So even your hardest game, you get in Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, and then the next week you go to Tennessee, and the week after that you have Texas A&M at home. And I would say by far those 3 weeks are definitely the hard bit of their schedule.
That's a stretch.
But I mean, they go into their 5-0, and then let's say they split the games at home and take care of Tennessee. I'd hope they would, and they're definitely planning to. And Tennessee isn't looking to be
I don't
at
think
least
Tennessee's
a
gonna be
powerhouse. I have them
Yeah,
ranked
I wouldn't
11th
be
out of
concerned.
16 here. So you split those games at home against Georgia and Texas A&M, and then you're looking at a really good spot. You probably have one loss going into your bye week. You have your bye week to prepare you for probably what could be your hardest game of the season, which is at LSU. LSU could be an absolute wrecking train at this point. At LSU, could be at night, very well could be at night. Could be a difficult game, but at the same time, it could be not that bad if Lane Kiffin doesn't get it together. What do you think? You think it'd be a hard game, looking like a hard schedule?
I think it's bold for you to say LSU is going to be the hardest. You got Georgia on that. That's
right.
already a guaranteed hardest
Yeah,
game right there.
Against Georgia at home, Alabama kind of takes care of Georgia, except the SEC championship. They didn't, but in the regular season, they got a pretty good track record.
Wow.
I'm saying it could be. Who knows what Georgia's going to be?
It's a
I think it
bold
really
claim.
it's a 6-point swing if you're at home or away. So home against Georgia or away against Alabama, or away against LSU. If Lane Kiffin is doing what everyone thinks he's going to do, by the way, third best odds out of the SEC to win the national championship, right behind Georgia, then I think there's a good argument that could be one of their harder games. But the lucky part is they have a bye to get ready, and then they're at Vanderbilt with no Diego Pavia or anything, and then they get another break because they play Chattanooga the second last week. So, and then they play Auburn, and the best part about that is it's at home, so you don't go to the mysterious and scary realm of Auburn Tigers home stadium. And so I think Alabama should be happy with the schedule for sure. Second easiest schedule in the SEC.
How do you feel about Alabama playing still an FCS school second last week of the season? Even though they do play their 9.
Yeah.
Kentucky's their second week. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a strategy. I don't think it's dumb. In fact, as a fan watching, I kind of enjoy more SEC play earlier in the year. I mean, why not? Unfortunately, they're playing Kentucky, so it's probably not going to be that interesting. I do find it interesting. A couple of these teams have actually stuck to keeping their
FCS school
kind of
second last.
kind of easy game second last, and it kind of makes sense because you really only need one tune-up game, especially if your second tune-up game can just be against an inferior SEC team. I mean, Big Ten could do that too, but I do think it's interesting how they stuck with that, despite
They
going to
did.
9 conference
They did.
games. I don't think it's that dumb. I think you could play the rules that way. It's fine, but I know you might have been upset about FCS school is a little interesting.
As a fan, I'm upset they're playing FCS in November.
Yeah,
As a fan, and which that's what this is, I'm upset.
well, luckily that's the second last weekend of the year, and we already dignified that as going to be a really fun weekend of football. So
I know.
sounds like I'm just not going to watch Alabama that week.
Yeah, I don't plan to.
I mean, there's really no reason to.
I think it's dumb.
So I think they have nice breaks. I think they have not the worst teams. I think Alabama's second best.
Well, I also had Alabama, so then I'll just move on to the third one.
Yep, go ahead.
I have Ole Miss, actually.
As an easy schedule,
I think they got a
I think you
pretty
lost your
favorable
mind.
one.
I think you lost your mind.
Again,
This just shows how close the SEC schedules are, but I disagree strongly with this as well.
they first start off with the Louisville Cardinals. Enough said there. Then they play the Charlotte 49ers.
Louisville?
That's what I have.
Louisville, like ACC Louisville?
Louisville Cardinals? Yeah.
Like, they're like, like ended ranked, like 20th? Like,
Yeah.
pretty good out of conference game?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, way better than NC State and
Yeah,
all
I
these
don't
other
think so.
ones?
You think they're going to stay good?
I think they're like a top 3
You think
ACC team.
You think they're going to stay good?
Yeah. Louisville's good like every year.
For what reason?
For those that know ball, Louisville's ranked like every year in the last few years. Yeah, they're not ranked high.
They're playing the ACC, bro.
But these are out of conference games.
They're playing the ACC.
Most out of conference games, they're playing like Minnesota.
They're in the ACC.
They're playing like NC State.
ACC.
Okay, that's not whatever. No, continue. Go ahead.
Then they play the Charlotte 49ers, not to be confused with the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, sure. Sorry.
And then this is where they play LSU at home. So they get LSU at home.
Sure.
Huge.
Sure.
Then they play Florida away, which is fine. Florida's Florida's a slouch. Okay. Get a bye. Then they're playing at Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia gone. I'm really not concerned about Vanderbilt.
Sure, that's fine.
Missouri, again,
Always a solid team.
solid team, but I've never seen them do anything good, really substantially
Okay.
good. So with Ole Miss there, I'm gonna bet on Ole Miss 9 times out of 10,
Really?
most likely.
Even new head coach and all that jazz.
Yeah, I trust Ole
Yeah,
Miss.
a lot of
more
players
than-
leaving.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Then they play at Texas. That's a struggle. That hurts.
Difficult game.
That one stinks. But then they play Auburn at home, easy. Georgia, at least they get them at home. That could be a little bit more of a revenge game, but I'm not really as concerned as well. Georgia's gonna win it because Georgia's a dang good football team.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of like saying Iowa doesn't have Iowa's gonna lose to probably the Buckeyes as well. They're still a good football team for it.
Yeah.
At Oklahoma, that one hurts. I think that one should
difficult.
be circled. Then they play the Wolford Terriers and Mississippi State to finish. I'm not. I think they got one that's okay. The SEC is gonna always have hard games. There's always gonna be somebody. They avoided Alabama.
Yeah.
They got most of the hard games at home. Sure, they got Oklahoma away. That's tough.
I'll voice my grievances later, I guess.
Go ahead.
But first of all, we have to finish up what I think is the easiest schedule in all of the SEC. I think it's the Georgia Bulldogs. So, Georgia right now, they avoid the number 1, 3, and 4 teams. That would be, they don't play Texas, they don't play LSU, they don't play Texas A&M. So, and they're the number 2 team. So their hardest game of their schedule right now is at Alabama. And I still think that's by far their hardest game. We talked about it earlier. So let's go through their schedule. They start with Tennessee State. Obviously, it should be really easy. Versus Western Kentucky, super easy. One of their away games is at Arkansas. Luckily for them, Arkansas, really simple. So like having
Arkansas
that
should
as
be
one of
fine.
your away games. Then you get Oklahoma at home. One of your harder games for sure. But at least you get them at home. Then you get Vanderbilt at home. And then you have your hardest game, in my opinion, which is at Alabama. And I think, okay, you lose that game. But even if you don't lose that game, whether
Sure.
you do or not, I think they're going to be fine because they get Auburn at home. And then they have a bye to get
Nice.
ready for Florida at home.
Which is a rivalry.
All these games at home. Actually, that's not at home. That's at a neutral site, my bad. So they get Florida at neutral site, but
Rivalry.
rivalry. Could be good, could be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Lots to know. And then at Ole Miss. So that's another maybe more difficult game.
Probably difficult.
Depends
game.
how good Ole Miss is going to be. Is Ole Miss actually going to be good? Or is Ole Miss losing their guys, losing their coach, losing everything?
They could
We have no idea what the Pete Golding Ole Miss is going to look like quite yet. In February.
in February.
But I would say there are the other programs that are for sure going to be better. And then you play Missouri at home. I'm not one to write off Missouri, but I think for Georgia especially, for the teams of the upper echelon like Georgia, I think they haven't really lost to
Missouri reminds me of the Penn State of the Big Ten.
Yeah, see, that's a fair comparison, in which case Georgia shouldn't be
Georgia's
so
not concerned.
And then their other away games at South Carolina, and then their final game, of course, is home against Georgia Tech. They have that game at home, and I don't think Georgia Tech's going to be as good, especially with...
Is Lenora Sellers coming back?
I don't remember. I don't know. Look at me. I'm just a fan. I don't know anything.
No. That's fine.
Yeah,
Just
but
a fan.
to cap it off, I mean, they play at Alabama and they play at Ole Miss, and they could split those games. They could probably lose both of those games, and still be in the playoff at 10-2. Most SEC teams, I'm sure every SEC person would argue if you have 2 losses, you're going to be in. So any Georgia fan, I'd say if you're not getting 2 win or if you're getting more than 2 losses here, you're going to be extremely concerned.
I would agree.
When's the last time that they've even had 3 losses? I'm actually not sure. It might have been before their back-to-back championships.
20.
In which case, it sounds like they're already in the playoffs with this schedule. So that's why I have Georgia as my number 1 easiest SEC schedule, best SEC draw.
I'm slightly concerned of that final stretch there of Florida, Ole Miss, Missouri, South Carolina, Georgia Tech. Mainly because, Florida is a rivalry game, and Florida seems to screw up at least one team
Every year.
They screw up someone. Last year it was Texas. Ole Miss that could be a revenge game, so that maybe they'll be okay there.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri, as we always say, Penn State, for all we know, they may come out of the woodworks. They've always been decent.
What's interesting about these teams is I would not be incredibly shocked if any of them, like those 3, Florida, Ole Miss, Missouri, all 3 of those could be top 10 teams by the second half of the season. And to be quite fair, South Carolina and Georgia Tech, they could be top 20 teams.
I know Georgia Tech is always trying to find some people.
Georgia Tech,
they're always fighting.
I think both of those, but honestly, all those teams could be top 10 or 20, and all those teams could be
garbage
at the very bottom of their conference. Florida could be last. Ole Miss could be almost last. Missouri could be almost last. South Carolina could be last. Georgia Tech, I mean, not last in the ACC, but they could be pretty low in terms of,
there's a high floor, high ceiling there.
So,
there's a high floor, high ceiling.
Hopefully Georgia knows what teams those are, and then they can prepare for it on the bye week right before that gauntlet. And I think they're going to be fine.
And I think they'll handle that schedule just fine.
It looks like 10 wins to me.
I think they'll handle that schedule just fine. Yeah. It's Georgia.
Yeah.
You could throw a harder schedule, and I'd be like, okay, they'll still make the playoffs.
I agree. So
it's Georgia.
Yeah, that sums up our SEC. I would say easiest schedules. And now we move on
to the hardest,
the harder schedules. I have a quick honorable. Did you have Oklahoma?
No.
Okay. Quick honorable mention to Oklahoma. Mostly because they play Texas. They play Texas A&M. They do miss Georgia and LSU. But the biggest thing making their schedule difficult is I don't like their bye week in October 3rd because you finish the year with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 conference games.
True.
So that's pretty rough. And they're out of conference as Michigan, at Michigan. So I think that makes that schedule pretty hard, but not quite top 3 for me. Who I do have in my top 3, and I'll go through these real quick. My number 3 was Texas, and my number 2 was Ole Miss, which you had as easy.
Which I had as pretty easy.
So real quick, I'm going to argue why Texas is difficult. First of all, I think the caliber of team that they're playing. They're playing Ohio State, and then they're playing LSU and A&M, and they do miss Georgia, but they're playing LSU, A&M, Oklahoma, Florida, Ole Miss, and Missouri, which I think are all top 10 teams in the SEC, on top of Ohio State. And you said their bye week is in the middle of the season, which is mathematically incorrect because it's actually week 5. And I would rather have it be, if you're not going to have it in the middle, I'd rather have it on the back half because you had all the break in the world heading up to your season, and then you play 4 games, and then you have a bye, and then you're ending the game with 8 SEC games. Some people argue that 8 SEC games would leave you like bleeding and dead on a battlefield.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Where's the hard stretch?
So you don't need a hard stretch for a hard schedule. But if I had to give you one,
give me a hard stretch.
I would say their last 4 games are ridiculous. 3 of their last 4 games are away, and those away games are Missouri, LSU, and Texas A&M. Yeah, sure, they play Arkansas at home in the middle of that, but 3 of those games are away, and 3 of those games, like we just said about Missouri, they could be top 10 in the league. They could be bad, but LSU and Texas A&M. Texas A&M has proven to be pretty consistent. LSU looking like they're going to be a good team. Sure, there's some variability there, but it's February. I think no matter who they are, if there are teams with caliber to be good and 3 out of the last 4 are away, it's just really hard to travel, especially in November. And that's just my opinion, and that's why I think Texas has a harder schedule. Like, they have all that, and then week 2, they're playing Ohio State. That's going to be the hardest game by any team in the first 2 weeks for both teams. Right now, they're favored by 2.5. You can bet that.
Texas is?
Yeah, they are.
It's not shocking.
All right.
Okay.
Anyways,
that's a shame.
said my piece. I think
Okay.
unless you have refutes.
I'm
think
just
so?
saying we were judging by schedule, and I think the way that their schedule lays out for them, I think is definitely favorable towards Texas, not against them.
Yeah, maybe it could have been worse, but
I think it could definitely be worse.
they don't play.
It's not even close. They have a buffer between almost every single game that they need.
Okay, well, buffers
You
don't
play-
really exist.
Buffers
Oklahoma,
do exist.
Florida, Ole Miss, there's not a buffer there. That's
Yes, there
3
is.
hard games.
Florida's a buffer.
Florida could easily be good
With who?
with their new head coach,
With who?
with all the money they have. That's all
With
you
who?
need. That's all you need nowadays.
No, you don't.
You need money and head coach.
No.
Yeah,
If that was true, then Northwestern would be all right if they could just get a new head coach. They have all the
Northwestern
money in
is
the
all
world.
right.
No,
But-
they're about to be slaughtered.
They killed Penn State last year.
They're about to be slaughtered.
They caused the greatest downfall of a team probably in the last decade or two.
No, they're about to be slaughtered this
okay.
year. They're about to have like 3 wins. That's
No,
it.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
They're about to be slaughtered.
That's fine.
Their bye week is week 2.
Yeah, well, that wasn't my fault. All right. We all agreed Northwestern's was a difficult schedule.
They're about to be slaughtered.
Yeah, well, that schedule is like 10 times worse than whatever you were arguing. Let's move on. Ole Miss Rebels, number 2 hardest. They start their season against Louisville. And you kind of like wish that to the side when Louisville is a pretty decent team. They're a great team. They're one of the only 2 teams that beat Miami actually last year. Yeah. And what do you think about that? Oh, whatever. So I see there's no reason why Ole Miss can't lose to Louisville. And then, of course, they play some hard teams. They're playing Texas, who's supposed to be the best. They're playing Georgia, who's supposed to be second best. They're playing LSU, who's supposed to be third best. They got the top 3 teams in their
I struggle
schedule.
to see how LSU. I don't think you can put
Okay,
LSU
you think
at
I'm
third.
too high on LSU?
Much too high.
You think they'll be bad
I think in February.
in February?
You're much too high.
I'm much too high.
Yes.
I think looking at what Lane Kiffin has done, if you look
You
at
were
their
looking much
look
too
at their
high.
transfer portal classes,
Okay.
their recruiting, their money they have,
Okay.
all signs are pointing to them being a pretty, at least volatile team. And do you know what a volatile team could do? They can give you fits.
You know what they
Right?
also can do?
What?
Just lay an egg.
Yeah, they could.
I think
I would
you're
much
putting much
rather
too much
have
stock
teams.
into LSU right now.
Okay. Even if we
way too much stock.
Okay, if I'm putting too much stock in LSU, then why are they the team in the SEC with the 3rd best odds to win the national championship?
If you're looking at that, then I'm looking at Texas, and yet you're calling me crazy for saying
yeah,
Texas
I am
is a good
calling you
team.
crazy, but I'm still giving them respect on here.
At least stay consistent.
I am staying consistent.
No, you're not.
I am.
But you're pointing to the odds is why you're saying LSU is so good.
I say-
and then the moment Texas is like number 1 almost,
Well-
which they are, you're going, oh no, they can't be that good.
Here's the thing: when the odds and my personal
They have
opinion
more
disagree,
normal personnel.
just because they have a higher odds doesn't mean I think they're going to be bad. I just said I
just
care about the
said
odds.
that.
I care about my opinions first and odds second. All right, and you know what? My opinion and odds agree on LSU.
You
Okay,
use your odds
my
as your
opinion,
support.
my opinion and odds disagree on Texas, and I think people are just betting them because of the hype train. And yeah, people are doing that because of LSU too. But they're 3rd. It's not like they're like last place. Okay,
I'm not saying they should be last place. Sure, I understand. There's talent and everything. I'm not putting them as the 3rd best SEC team right off rip.
okay, because you think Texas A&M is better.
Yes.
They played no one last year. They didn't play any of the top of the conference.
Marcel Reed's
When they
back.
finally did, they got destroyed.
At
They
least
were
have
down 30
continuity.
to South Carolina.
Did they win?
Yeah, because South Carolina
No, my bad.
sucks.
I'm sorry.
South Carolina sucks.
I'm sorry.
At no point should you be down 30.
I'm sorry.
Oh, so if Ohio State was down 30 to Akron, but we won the game, you'd just be, oh, that's fine. We
I'd
won.
be concerned.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, you should be concerned.
I'd
you
be
should be
concerned.
concerned about Texas A&M. My bold
I'm
take
so glad they won.
hinges on all of this actually later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't wait.
On Ole Miss?
No.
On LSU.
On everything I'm saying.
Yeah, oh, I can't.
All
wait
these
for
teams
this.
are
This is gonna be
terrible.
Great. Lovely.
Anyways,
Lovely.
okay, so then they go through this not a gauntlet, which is Vanderbilt, really good team last year. Missouri, okay, maybe not so good this year. But Missouri,
Hear yourself.
Vanderbilt,
Vanderbilt,
good team last year.
good team last year. They lost
Yeah,
every
okay.
single player.
Okay, this year they're not as good. I'm not done
Interesting.
yet. Missouri
Interesting.
at Texas versus Auburn versus Georgia. Yeah, you're not saying Texas is bad. You're
I'm
not
not.
saying Georgia's bad.
I'm not.
You were saying Auburn's
They
bad.
have continuity.
I'm going to say Auburn used to be bottom of the barrel.
They have continuity.
At the very least, Auburn can have a head coach now that they actually feel good about, and they could be better than what they were. At least they're going to be dangerous.
Everybody could be better than what they
Actually,
were.
they were dangerous last year. They just lost every single game by like one possession.
Everybody could be better than what they were.
Yeah, okay. Well, they can be. Actually, no, that's not true.
Okay.
Arkansas has very little chance of being better than what they were.
Really?
Kentucky, actually, a little better shot. Mississippi State, no chance of being more than a bottom 5 SEC team.
Okay.
Like, they're good, but they're not that good. Auburn has a history of at times being good. They have a coach that they finally feel better about. After firing Hugh Freeze, I see no reason they can at least be dangerous. And then they get Georgia. I'm just looking at the schedule, and they're out of conferences, Louisville. They play LSU, who I think is... where do you think they should be then? Top 8?
I would definitely just
In the
start in the
SEC?
middle and then go from there.
Okay. I mean, last year they had a winning record.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying they're going to get worse?
I'm saying I'm
After
not going to
firing their coach halfway through the season?
I'm not going to give them all their accolades.
I'm saying they're going to be like 2 games better, and they're already like a top 5 team in the SEC. Their floor is already so high. You're saying, oh, they're going to be middle of the pack. LSU has never been middle of the pack
hyping
team.
them up so much more than what they deserve.
You are
It's not
saying
even
they're going to be a
close.
middle of the pack team.
I'm saying we should start out as a middle of the pack.
I'm
team.
saying
it's February.
LSU
We have no games played.
No. I'm saying LSU as a baseline has always been better than the middle of the pack. They have never been in the middle pack with Missouri and Ole Miss and right now Tennessee. They were always better than those teams. They've always have been.
When have they been in the playoffs?
Why do they drop to the middle of the pack?
I'm asking you. When have they been in the
Middle
playoffs?
of the pack isn't making the playoffs.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're always. When have they been in the playoffs?
When have they been in the playoffs? That does not decide where they are. I'm sorry we went to a 12-team playoff and then they had 2 bad years under Brian Kelly those 2 years. If they had a 12-team playoff, the 2 years before that, they would have been in the playoffs.
2019, they won with Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Okay. They're a great team. Great baseline since then. Haven't been bad.
Okay.
Not middle of the pack.
And yet, all the teams
You're
that
saying
you're trying to mention,
they're
Tennessee made the
basically
playoffs.
Missouri.
Ole
Missouri
Miss
is middle of the
made
pack.
the playoffs.
Missouri is like the most middle of the pack.
Yeah.
And you're saying they're Missouri.
Yes.
Like,
What accolades
do
have
they
they won?
do they play each other?
I don't know.
I don't have either of their schedules. I'd put so much money that LSU wins that game.
I do have LSU as one of my schedules.
But you think they're a harder schedule later? Oh, okay. I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Yeah, until LSU proves something,
Right.
I got nothing.
Okay. You know what? This is just a
They haven't done anything.
measure of opinion. We can change
They haven't done anything.
the statistics, the people, the coaching, the transfer portal, the money, the history. It all points to LSU being better than a middle of the pack team. We'll have to wait till they play the games. We'll have to see.
Still haven't made a playoff since
Right.
2019.
Well, I think Ole Miss has a difficult schedule. Viewers, I encourage you to look at this schedule and decide for yourself if it's a difficult schedule. And yeah, every SEC schedule is difficult, but I think this is more difficult than so. Finally, you want to go with your
I think I
Harder
should.
schedule?
I think I should go for a little bit.
Go ahead.
I have Florida. Having a pretty difficult schedule, one that I would not be in favor of. They start out with the Florida Atlantic Owls, FAO.
Let's go.
Meh. Campbell Fighting Camels. Camels? Yeah, Camels.
Camels. Didn't know about that.
Camels. But then they go to at Auburn, O'Hare. I think that's
Haunted, maybe.
that's a toss-up game right there for them already off rip. They do get Ole Miss. I think they're going to lose that. That's a hard game. At Missouri, middle of the pack team.
Yeah.
Stay consistent with
True.
that.
No, they are.
But I also think Florida's the middle of the pack team. So again, going to Missouri. Again, I would not want that either.
Okay.
If I was Georgia, I wouldn't want to exactly go to Missouri.
Sure.
Then they get South Carolina, which is meh.
Easier game.
At Texas, ouch. They do get a bye in the middle of the week, middle of the season.
That's good.
area. So that's nice. But then they go straight to Georgia and neutral field. I hate that. And then they get Oklahoma at home. At least it's home. But still, it's Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's going to be a top-tier SEC team. Then they get a break at Kentucky. That's nice. Vanderbilt. Meh. And then they finish at Florida State. And honestly, who knows what Florida State's up to.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
I just don't like their away games. I think they just play a caliber of teams that are just always leagues above them.
Yeah.
And that could be an argument to say Arkansas has one of the hardest schedules. But I just don't like their away games at all for them. And I think that's tough for them. I don't think they're going to struggle to get to 7 wins. 6.
I see.
7 or 6 wins.
Yeah, rough for Florida. New head coach could do better.
They could
Have the resources.
It could.
They could be. Maybe
I guess
schedule
I can move on to my
Yeah,
next
you
one.
can do your next.
Do the next one. I have LSU
Okay.
as a tough one.
Sure.
They start off with Clemson. That's miserable.
Harder out of conference game.
They do get home though, so that's probably a Death Valley at night kind of thing where they'll have them. Then they get a break at Louisiana Tech, meh, and then they go at Ole Miss, struggle. Texas A&M home, McNeese Cowboys. That could be like a pseudo bye, I guess.
Yeah.
In October 3rd, at Kentucky, meh. I mean that's pretty easy. Mississippi State, easy. At Auburn, all right. I don't exactly like going to at Auburn. Then they get the bye at October 31st. That's easy. But these last 4 games is where I struggle with a nice easy one at Arkansas. They go Alabama, Texas, Tennessee.
Wow.
They're going to drop.
Especially at the end of the season.
They're going to
that's
drop some
painful.
games there.
Yeah.
And then easy game in Arkansas, and I'm not concerned about that, but I'm concerned.
Concerned about that.
I'm concerned of those last 4 games. I think they can lose one at Texas A&M, Ole Miss, or Clemson, and they can lose 2 at the last 4.
I see. Well, very possible. My number 1 schedule.
Mhm.
Hardest schedule in the SEC. Well, I think drew the shortest straw. Not as bad, not as egregious as the other schedules, but I did have the Arkansas Razorbacks. They also happen to be, in my opinion, probably going to be the worst team in the SEC.
Most likely.
But it did
They
not
are
help
garbage.
that they just off rip. They got the top 4 teams in the conference, in my opinion. According to the odds, actually, according to the sports bettors,
There we go.
they got Texas, Georgia,
Their rankings are
LSU, and Texas A&M on here.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, they have their out of conference is Utah. So
Oh.
let's go through this.
How
real
did
quick.
Arkansas get Utah as an out of conference?
I'm not sure. So let's
Ouch.
just start. They play North Alabama to start. Okay, tune-up game, fine.
Tune up.
Then they go to Utah.
That's quite.
I know they just lost their head coach.
Ouch.
They're still a good team. They're a top Big 12 team, and it's not as bad of a drive as it is for most of the SEC schools from Arkansas.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Okay.
no one wants to be going to Utah.
Sure.
And then you just don't get a break because then you got home against Georgia. Poor Arkansas fans. Luckily, you do get a break. You get a game against Tulsa.
Is that a
which
break?
You'll probably win. Probably win. I'm saying they have 2 wins at this point. I don't see a 3rd win on this schedule. That's what I'm saying. And you've already played Georgia and Utah. I don't see a 3rd win.
Really?
I mean, I see a half a win.
Okay.
Because here we go.
Okay.
You go to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say they're a good team.
I'd say they're a good team.
You get Tennessee at home.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you could win that game. It's at home. Tennessee could be good, could be bad. They're
It could
kind of
be
on
bad.
the
It
lower
could be
end
bad.
of the SEC. So maybe look there for a win. You're at Vanderbilt. Once again,
They could be bad.
could be bad. Could be bad. But
It's February.
it's February. I agree. But maybe you pick up a win there. But even if you pick up a 3rd win there,
Maybe
you
they
have a
could
bye.
split there.
Exactly. And then you get a bye. And then you're against Missouri at home.
Ouch.
Middle of the pack team. Pretty difficult. At Auburn.
Ouch.
Playing at Auburn. Not easy.
Not easy.
And then here's the half win. I think home against South Carolina.
okay, I'm
if-
really curious if Lenora Sellers is still playing.
If South Carolina has a down year, then, they're going to be maybe winning that game. But then even after that, they go to Texas and they get LSU at home. So that's a struggle for Arkansas.
That's a struggle. No, that's not ideal.
And right now, their win total is set about 4.5. This is one of the 3 win totals that FanDuel has out. And honestly, this is screaming under to me. As much as I'd hate to give any team under 4.5, because that's just brutal. I mean,
is there a win total out for them?
Yeah, this is
It is
one of the 3
4.5?
win totals out. It's 4.5. it's North Alabama. If they beat North Alabama, Tulsa,
And then split 2 games.
South Carolina, and like Vanderbilt, that just means they're at 4 wins. And guess what?
Oh,
That's still under.
Struggle.
So they would have to win. I'm assuming the only way they get to 5 wins really is they beat North Alabama, Tulsa, at Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and then their 5th win would have to be either against Tennessee at home or at Utah and hope they're bad. So
that's sad.
maybe I should have put some. I hate betting win totals just because my money's gonna be locked up for a while. But you know what? This might be worth it.
under.
The ROI on this is saying this is totally gonna
Put
be
some money on that. Yeah.
under 4.5 for Arkansas. Not looking good.
That sucks.
I don't even remember who they went with for their head coach, their new head coach. I think
No
they have
idea.
one. I don't remember who it is.
No idea. I don't
Probably
pay attention to Arkansas.
an irrelevant person.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to Arkansas.
So
I'll go for my last one.
Yep.
I have Auburn.
Auburn.
I have
Okay.
Auburn. So here's what the Auburn schedule is looking like. They start off with Baylor as their out of conference, as one of their big out of conference games.
I'd say that's a harder out
That's
of
a
conference
harder
game.
out of conference game.
Yeah.
There once was a time where they were good.
It's true.
Not as good now.
Yeah.
But I think they're comparable. Then they get the Southern Miss Golden Eagles at home. That's fine. Florida at home. Florida coming to your house. That's always beneficial for you. But Florida still could be a good team. They could not be. Who knows? I give that a toss-up game.
It is February.
Vanderbilt. Again, Diego Pavia's not there, so I'm not as concerned. But then they go away to Tennessee. And I understand Tennessee's not the cream of the crop anymore. But fighting in that stadium is difficult as heck.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that's any away game at this point is just death to them. They get a bye on October 10th, which is a little on the earlier side from like a week or two. Then they go at Georgia, loss. LSU home, loss. At Ole Miss.
Whoa. LSU, loss. At home? You're saying middle of the pack SEC team.
Auburn's not middle of the pack.
No, I'm saying you get a middle of the pack SEC team at home, and
Auburn's
it's
not
just an
middle of the pack.
automatic loss.
I think Auburn's a bad team.
A bad team.
Yes.
Okay. Does that just make their schedule bad, or are you just saying they're bad?
I don't know. You could argue that for Arkansas too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think if any team would have played Arkansas' schedule, it's difficult. That's just me. Okay. No, continue.
At Ole Miss.
Sure.
Hard. Then they get home against Arkansas. Woo!
Yeah. Thank goodness.
At Mississippi State, fine. Home versus Samford, and then out Alabama. I don't almost every single away game is just an automatic loss for them. Besides, nope, I stand by what I said.
All automatic losses.
All automatic losses.
Really? Well, if Auburn is as bad as they were this year,
I do think Mississippi State will beat Auburn.
okay, that's good.
So
That's not good actually. That's really bad for Auburn and their new head coach.
yeah.
But I think Auburn will be better than that.
Did Mississippi State get a new head coach?
No, I don't think
Yep.
they fired theirs.
I love continuity.
Right.
Hot dog.
No, that is good.
Good for them.
Well, that wraps it up for our most difficult SEC schedules and our SEC schedule breakdown in general. Much more balanced conference.
Scheduling wise,
a lot of
ridiculously.
others.
The Big Ten definitely need to take a page out of their book.
I agree. Later
Figure something
we'll
out.
probably talk about ACC and Big 12. I think the ACC is a little bit ridiculous, but that'll probably be next week.
Is that next? Yeah, that's probably next week.
Probably next week.
We'll do next week. All right.